Welcome back. All right, continuing on with the jersey countdown today, we are going from number 170 through to 161. We got some ugly ones in this set of 10 jerseys. It's a very interesting set. And when I was putting this together, I was like, okay, now I remember. So, Slipknot t-shirt I'm wearing today with all the masks on it. And it's one of my favorite of my Slipknot shirts. I don't think I've worn this one during the countdown. If I have, I have. But, I mean, the fact that we're this far into the countdown and I think I'm still finding t-shirts I haven't worn yet. I have a lot of t-shirts. All right. So 170 through 161 at 170. So Cleveland was in the NHL for 2 years. A long time ago. It predated my time watching hockey. When I wore this jersey at a meetup this summer, there was a lot of, I don't know who that is. So it's got my name on it. The numbers, of course, here encased within the state of Ohio map. But yeah, so I got this one to wear for meetups. I was like, well, yeah, I could do that. And then when I got it, I thought, well, I might use that for the countdown. And here we are. I love the Cleveland logo. I think it's really nicely done. I love the striping. And the way that Royal Retros did this in black looks really nice. And I do have one in red that I also got from Royal Retros. All right, so that's 170, and this is where we get into some ugly ones. Why? Because as I was putting together the countdown, there were some jerseys that I was like, well, I really like these ones. People are going to be mad to see them this high up in the countdown. I can't justify having them higher than this. So the first example of this, number 169. Yeah, giggle, giggle. Right there. The Burger King jersey in all of its glory. I love this jersey. I'm really glad that I have it. I've done my best to make sure that it stays in as pristine condition as possible. I hardly ever wear it because I know I won't be able to replace it. It is absolutely, it's fantastic. This jersey, I think, and I know everybody hates it. It's so ugly. That's part of what I really like about it, is that it's so completely different. So absolutely completely different than anything else that came before or after. This is one look that I can't see the Kings ever going back to. The funny thing is, the King himself here kind of looks badass. I kind of feel like if you didn't have the sash kind of look here, if you had the King just right in the middle, maybe it would have been better received. At 168, and just above that one, is the the meth tiger. Yeah. So the saber-toothed tiger here looking quite angry, quite put out. And I mean, if your teeth were built like that, you might be put out as well. You can see the Nashville right here. That is one thing that I noticed on a lot of the ones on the secondary market. This Nashville wears off really easy. A lot of the ones that are on like used, you will find that that's been worn off. But I got this one actually really recently. I've had a large in this for a long, long time. This one is actually a small, and it's a CCM. It's a just fantastic. It's very, very different, right? Is it ugly? Yeah, absolutely. Yep, it is. And keep that in mind, because at 167, and we'll see what the camera thinks of this one. This one might break the camera altogether, because I've made that joke for years. So, yep, it is the. I call this one the barber pole. On the actual website, the shop for the Montreal Canadiens, this is referred to as barbershop. So, yeah, that is the official terminology used for this one. This is the one that they did a throwback to back in 1991 for the 75th anniversary of the NHL, which left some of us laughing pretty hard. But that's what they wore way, way, way back when. And I respect them for being willing to acknowledge it and to actually sell this sweater. And this is a sweater. It's a Reebok by Roger Edwards. It is a sweater. I like this one quite a bit. So I don't have this in jersey material. I've looked at it in jersey material, but the sweater's really nice. Obviously, since it's a sweater, it's also kind of nice to have during the winter when it's a little cold in here. All right, moving on. So those are the ugly ones that I could not justify having them higher up. That I was like, this is as high as I can put them. I can't put them any higher. All right, number 166. So the Kings, I refer to this as the Cylon jersey because they wore the silver helmets with them. So it actually is LA Kings Cylon in my inventory. I like the logo, even though the logo is, well, it bends, it folds. I have one of these two that I use for meetups, and the logo looks rough. And I've only washed it the one time. So that is one drawback of logos that are like this, is that they don't wear all that well. And as you can see, it's easy to get a fold in it. This one has a fold in it just from hanging there and just from having another jersey up against it. So that is one thing to keep in mind. The silver is that shiny silver, the scratchy silver that Vegas uses for their jersey. It's that same scratchy here. But it's not nearly as much as that gold jersey from Vegas, so I am able to wear this. And of course, you got the 2 crowns in here for the 2 Stanley Cups. But it's a very nice jersey. All right, 165. So Ranger fans will tell you this is not a pretty jersey either. Ranger fans were not happy in the 70s when this became the Rangers look. So eventually it became the Jets look in the 80s. But I love the I love the shield on the front. I still think that the New York Rangers, if the shield was on the front of their jersey, I think that would be a great look. I know it's not going to happen with their home and away. They have the word mark. It'll stay that way forever. They've had it that way for a very long time. But I do think this is a good look. I think the shield is fun. I never quite understood the hate for it, but at the time they wore this, I wasn't watching hockey. So I don't have first-hand accounts of people complaining about that look from when it was debuted and from when it was used. All right, 164. And as ugly as some of those other jerseys are, this one's is pretty. Toronto Maple Leafs, the Winter Classic that they wore against Toronto, or against Detroit. And the weird thing with the Detroit-Toronto Winter Classic was that Detroit had the word Detroit over top of the wing. And I thought, that's weird. I don't know that I've ever seen a team, or seen a game between two teams in a setting like that, where they both have the name of the city on the front of the jersey. It's one of those weird things. Hey, I'm a weird guy. But the striping here I think is nice. I think it's really well done, and I absolutely love that Maple Leafs logo. If the Toronto Maple Leafs ever decided, we're going to change our logo again, that would be the one that I think they should use. I don't think they're ever going to do that, though. All right, 163. The Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild white jersey. It does rank higher than the green one. You can see here there's no stripe down here, so that's nice. There are stripes at the bottom of the jersey, of course. I think they've got a nice, clean look here. This is fun. The one thing that's always been kind of weird to me with Minnesota is just how different the road and away jerseys look, but that's forgivable, and it's not a big deal. So shoulder logos here. Really like that, too. And, of course, I always use the circle logo on theirs, which we saw earlier in the countdown. So, yeah, Minnesota Wild, 163. Number 162. Detroit. So, for Red Wing fans who might be mad that Detroit jerseys were so low on this countdown in general, I love this jersey. This one's fantastic, and this one really shows that that silver in that logo, that is awesome. I'm really surprised they haven't done that again. I think the reverse retro they did, which was supposed to be kind of an echo of this, that's the gray stripe they had on it. I think if the reverse retro had been done based on this completely, so red, still silver in the logo with white in the logo, and white stripes, or even silver stripes, I think they would have had a fantastic reverse retro. But they decided just to have the one gray stripe, made it look like a practice jersey. At any rate, though, the original it was based on is really, really nice. Which brings us to 161. And rounding out this part of the countdown at 161 is the Oilers' current road jersey, which is very nice. It's a throwback, obviously, to their 80s look. You can see the texture in the oil drop here, as well as in the lettering at the bottom. Let me just get that on an angle so you can see the texture. Very nicely done, very nicely made, and the Oilers will never change from this color scheme again, I don't believe. I think that's where they're going to go. I mean, think of it this way. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup final and won 5 and 7 years with this look, and they've been in the last 2 Stanley Cup finals with this look. So yes, in '06 they were using the copper, but for most of their long runs, for most of their success, this has been the look that they've worn. So I'm okay with superstition from that perspective. Doesn't bother me at all. I totally get it. That you have certain jerseys you might be better in than others. Waiting until the camera. There we go. So yeah, it was a lot of white though. And then this is a lot of white. But anyways, yeah, I know when I've played street hockey or floor hockey over the many years that I've done both, there have been times where I would wear a certain jersey and thought I played better, and so I'd start using that one. Back when I was a teenager, in my early 20s as well, Chicago. For some reason, when I wore my Blackhawks jersey, I played better. I usually played really well wearing Boston, and I had no idea why, but it's one of those things. All right. Anyways, there you go. Another 10 jerseys in the countdown done. We have 16 entries left in this playlist, a little over 2 weeks. And that's all done. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Yes, I know people are going to complain about how high up some of these ugly jerseys are. You haven't seen all of them yet, have you? Have you seen the Mooterus? No, you have not. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you again soon.